Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Evelyn Shorty, and again, it's a different angle. I've done the best I can at this point, but it turns out the machine I use for work isn't just having a slight malfunction, it is dying on me, and I'm doing what I can until I can get a replacement. That being said, it's not going to stop me reviewing comic books, including this one, Spider-Boy, issue 1. Not technically his first appearance, because, well, hell, his first appearance is an odd one, because apparently he's been totally forgotten from the Marvel Universe, but it's a weird situation because I don't read enough Spider-Man comic books to know if that's actually an in-universe thing or if he's just Dan Slott has just created this character and he's now retconning continuity to say, oh no, he was there, just none of us remember it. I kind of like it if that's the case. Like, if there's literally never been a Spider-Boy, that would be outstanding. I don't think that's the case. I think there probably was someone in the background. But I still like the idea of it. And I do like the idea that this is a kid's comic book. It is rated teen on the cover. T there. I was kind of surprised to see that because having now read it, all I can think of is reminded how bad the American school system is. And don't get me wrong, I could do an entire video on that, but I've only got 5 minutes to review a comic book, and honestly, you don't need to know about that. As far as to say, due to some very weird background stuff for me, I have gone to an American school system and a British school system, and I can tell you one is considerably better than the other at early ages, particularly the age where reading and being taught how to appreciate literature is one of the things they're taught. Oof, yeah. This one, though, it is certainly aimed at young readers, and I know that's a bad thing. What I think is the comic book industry needs something like this where it is an ongoing, where they are not talking down to younger readers, but they're also being totally okay with the idea that it is aimed at younger readers and that they will come back and keep buying it. Because there seems to be a little bit of an odd vibe with how people write comic books for kids these days, at least American publishers. A little bit in the UK too, like I've got some TSN pals who basically say the ones that are aimed at kids of 2000 AD are not great and they're not what got them into reading 2000 AD when they were kids. But the original Spider-Man comic book was aimed at children, it 100% was. All comic books were back then. And I think there's maybe like a looking back on things and remembering them differently than they were. But when I was a kid, I didn't really get into 2000 AD, but as a very young age, I was reading Beano and Dandy and Beezer and Topper and all these kind of UK comic book strip kind of things. And it seems to be that comic book companies have forgotten that kids are absolutely into collecting things because they don't release them like this. A lot of the DC superhero girls and things like that come out in just collected format straight away, and they release them every once in a while, and it's cool. And the Dogman stuff exists in a similar kind of format. But putting things out in a monthly format, or even better, weekly, is great for young readers to get into something, because kids can obsess about stuff just in the same way that mature, grown-up people can. Let them have something. And this does that brilliantly. It does it because it's funny, it's light-hearted, the violence is whimsical, which I know is an odd thing to say, like a strange sentence, but it works, it really does. And when I say it's funny, it's one of the few times where a comic book I've read that is aimed to be funny and has succeeded in it in a way which I find quite adorable. Now, maybe it's because my expectations are different because I'm expecting this to be a comic book aimed at kids. But it isn't funny because the situation is funny and the people exist in them and respond to them in entertaining ways. It is full of jokes and quips in the way that Spider-Man comics should be. It is full of puns. It is silliness incarnate. But again, that's absolutely fine. I have no issue with this comic book doing this. It's what it's supposed to do. It's what the audience that it's aimed at should be wanting. Now, it's not saying that there isn't something here for grown-ups. There is some stuff in here. When I was first reading it, I was reminded of something Kevin Smith did a while ago in his Batman run before DC stopped him doing it, which was basically going back and pulling some like very, very D-tier super bad guys. I want to say super, I mean very, very limited superpowers. The kind of people that would exist in gold and silverish comic books for one issue. Their backgrounds were thin at best. They had very little motivation. You could explain everything about them in 6 or 7 panels, and it basically was an excuse to do silly fight scenes. In this one, we start with a guy with a bowling pin for a head who shoots bowling pins from a gun, and he's attacking people in a bowling alley. It is silly, it's ridiculous. I don't even know if that's actually an old character from Spider-Man or Marvel mythology. I have no idea. I don't read that much old comic books. I don't go back to the Golden Age, like, at all. But I like the fact that it might be. And Dan Slott has gone out of his way to find these characters. So if you are a little bit more into your comic book continuity and looking for something which adds a bit more to it, you'll find that in here. But don't get too excited. It is still a kid's comic book. We're not dealing with huge, expansive themes. We're just dealing with stuff that's fun for kids to read. And also, it looks fantastic as well. The artwork just is not what I'm really familiar with. Medina, I think I've seen some stuff by them before and enjoy them well enough. But it's Marvel in-house style. it works well for a Spider-Boy comic book. It's exactly everything it should be, and I actually really enjoyed it for that. Not going on my pull list, that's more to do with the fact I don't really read Spider-Man comic books than anything else. But if you are looking for something to give to a kid or just have a bit of fun yourself, I would recommend it. It's a lot of fun. That's it for me for now, though. Until next week, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.